Are you ready to see who makes the cut as we continue our countdown of the top 25 Houston Texans for the 2026 season? Today, we are officially naming linebacker Henry To'oTo'o as our number 16 entry on this list. It is a critical placement because he is entering a high-stakes contract year while the team faces significant depth concerns at the linebacker position. My name is Lucas, and honestly, the more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is going on behind the scenes. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city below. Let's get into it. We continue our countdown of the top 25 Houston Texans for the 2026 season by turning our attention to linebacker Henry To'oTo'o, who claims the number 16 spot on our list. Since joining the team 2 years ago, To'oTo'o has established himself as a reliable downhill playmaker who operates with high football IQ and impressive athleticism under head coach DeMeco Ryans. He has consistently delivered at least 95 tackles and 7 tackles for loss in each of his professional seasons, providing a steady presence alongside Azeez Al-Shaair. As we assess the roster, we find that the vast majority of our previous entries have been linemen, making To'oTo'o the first true shift in our rankings toward the second level of the defense. The part fans are not ready for is the reality of his contract year status. He is heading into a pivotal season without an extension, meaning the pressure to perform at his absolute peak is higher than ever before. With EJ Speed sidelined for the upcoming 2026 season due to a quad injury, the burden on To'oTo'o to anchor the middle of the field has intensified significantly. While he brings proven production, he still faces challenges with his 6'2", 228-pound frame and occasional overaggression that impacted his snap counts in 2025. Fans are understandably anxious about this thin linebacker room, even with the addition of players like Marta Mapu and rookies Wade Woodaz and Aiden Fisher. Though he finished the previous season on a high note, we have to wonder if these consistency issues will truly stay in the rear-view mirror when the lights come on in September. If he cannot solidify his role as the full-time starter, we must ask ourselves who is actually next in line to take those critical snaps when the game is on the line. The most surprising reality facing Henry To'oTo'o this season is that he is effectively auditioning for his entire professional future while operating in a depleted linebacker room. This is where it gets real, as we must consider that the Texans face a significant void following the quad injury to EJ Speed that rules him out for the 2026 season. Because To'oTo'o has not received a contract extension, he enters this campaign in a high-stakes contract year with every incentive to prove his value to the front office. Historically, this team has seen mid-tier defensive starters struggle to secure long-term deals without demonstrating sustained high-level consistency, and To'oTo'o is currently walking that exact tightrope. Behind closed doors, DeMeco Ryans and the coaching staff likely view him as a necessary stopgap who must overcome previous mid-season benchings to prove he deserves a starting role beyond this year. While the front office has been busy adding depth pieces through the draft and trades, none of those new arrivals carry the same proven, productive experience that he brings to the field as a veteran presence. The coaches know that relying on youth behind an injury-prone unit is a gamble, so their primary objective is to push To'oTo'o toward the ceiling of his athleticism and football IQ. If he can maintain the form he found during the second half of the 2025 season, he could secure a substantial payday. But anything less will likely force management to look for cheaper or more reliable options elsewhere. As Houston Texans fans, we recognize that his development is not just about personal achievement, it is about keeping our defense functional while the team navigates these roster challenges. Whether he emerges as a cornerstone or fades into a rotational role will be one of the most defining subplots of our upcoming year. Stepping into the 2026 season, the decision to rank Henry To'oTo'o at number 16 highlights a critical turning point for the depth of our defense. As Houston Texans fans, we recognize that his development as an off-ball linebacker is no longer just a luxury, but a necessity for the success of our unit. Because he is entering a pivotal contract year, the pressure is on for him to prove his worth before hitting free agency next offseason. And here's why that's a big deal for our roster management. With the unfortunate news that EJ Speed will miss the entire campaign due to a quad injury, the burden on To'oTo'o to maintain his consistent production of at least 95 tackles and 7 tackles for loss increases significantly. We are looking at a scenario where his role as a starter is locked in, yet the margin for error remains razor thin. The front office has acted with foresight by bringing in new faces like Marta Mapu and drafting rookies, but the veterans must anchor the middle of the field during those tough AFC South showdowns against the Colts and Titans. If our linebacker unit struggles to maintain its integrity, our entire defensive scheme under DeMeco Ryans could face unwanted complications against high-octane offenses. Maintaining this balance is essential for our playoff ambitions, especially as we aim to stay ahead of our division rivals in a crowded conference. While his physical measurables of 6'2" and 228 pounds sometimes pose challenges in coverage, his high-level football IQ often compensates for those gaps. We need him to play with the same fire he showed in the second half of the 2025 season to ensure our defense remains a force to be reckoned with all year long. We are currently refining our rankings for the 2026 season by identifying the most vital contributors on our roster, and slotting Henry To'oTo'o at number 16 represents a calculated bet on consistency. The primary argument for his importance is his proven track record, as he has consistently delivered at least 95 tackles and 7 tackles for loss in each of the past 2 seasons under DeMeco Ryans. This production provides a reliable foundation for our defense, especially when considering his high football IQ and downhill playing style. And I cannot stress this enough, the fact that he enters this year in a contract status serves as a major motivator for him to elevate his performance. Conversely, the downside remains his physical profile at 6'2" and 228 pounds, which sometimes leads to inconsistency in coverage and over-aggression that forces coaching adjustments. While some league analysts around the NFL suggest that our depth chart could become vulnerable without EJ Speed, there is a legitimate debate about whether the team has already mitigated this risk by drafting players like Wade Woodaz and Aiden Fisher, or by trading for Marte Mapu. Many observers are keeping a close watch on how these specific newcomers and Jamal Hill settle into their respective roles. Here is where I land on this. While the media hype surrounding our potential defensive drop-off is understandable given the injury news, I suspect some of the panic is slightly overblown because our defensive system is designed to maximize collective effort rather than relying on one individual. We have enough internal options to bridge the gap if necessary, even if losing a veteran starter is never ideal. Ultimately, To'oTo'o remains a key piece, and if he finds that next gear this season, he will prove he belongs on this list and earns his payday. As we look at the trajectory for the Houston Texans, placing Henry To'oTo'o at number 16 on our list highlights a franchise commitment to building a reliable, homegrown core that can sustain success under the leadership of DeMeco Ryans. This move signals that we are prioritizing consistency and chemistry over flashy acquisitions, ensuring our defense remains a disciplined unit capable of executing complex schemes year after year. For us fans, this ranking should provide a genuine sense of confidence heading into the upcoming season because it confirms that our depth chart is being bolstered by players who understand our system inside and out. And honestly, knowing that we have a productive tackler like To'oTo'o entering his 4th professional year with a clear motivation to perform in a contract year provides a vital stability that every championship caliber team requires. While the absence of EJ Speed poses a challenge, the strategic additions of Wade Woodaz, Aiden Fisher, and Marte Mapu prove that the front office is not sitting idle, but rather preparing for every eventuality to keep our standards high. We have seen firsthand how this defense rises to the occasion when the stakes are at their peak, and having a veteran presence who is intimately familiar with our culture is exactly what we need to bridge the gap during any potential injury setbacks. We must appreciate this measured approach to roster management as it secures our competitive window for the foreseeable future. With Henry To'oTo'o now established as a primary contributor in our linebacker rotation, do you believe he will reach a career high in total tackles during this upcoming contract year? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Toro time! I'll see you in the next one.